The Blue Jays have sprung back into contention this season, and they've done it behind the unexpected resurgence of George Springer. Let's examine how one of the best postseason performers of all time has pointed Toronto back to the postseason by turning back the clock, leading the way, and reminding us how good he and they can be. When 2025 began, it was fair to be fatigued by the prospect of picking the Blue Jays to win much of anything. Not that they didn't have a quality roster, that wasn't the issue. It's just that they had squandered quality rosters many times in the recent past, and despite their best efforts, they had major difficulty reeling in the free agent market's most attractive options. Remember the winter before the 2024 season, when seemingly all of social media was tracking a private jet that people thought was carrying Shohei Ohtani from Orange County, California to Toronto to sign with the Jays? It turned out not to be baseball's two-way superstar in that flight, but one of the entrepreneurs from the reality television series Shark Tank. Yeah, sometimes reality bites. It bit again when the Jays were similarly unable to sign Juan Soto last winter. Toronto, Soto, man, that could have worked on paper, but Soto got his paper from the Mets instead. These swings and misses only further frustrated a fan base disappointed by the Blue Jays' recent track record on the field. When Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette both debuted in 2019, it was the beginning of a new era for a Blue Jays team that last won it all in 1993 and last reached the League Championship Series round in 2016 at the tail end of the Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion days. Guerrero and Bichette were indeed franchise-altering talents, and the Blue Jays made great efforts to support them, bringing in players like Marcus Semien, Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, Matt Chapman, and others through the years. But the Jays' biggest external expenditure was on one George Chelston Springer. In the winter prior to the 2021 season, Toronto bestowed upon Springer what remains the largest free agent contract in franchise history. 6 years, $150 million. Going into Springer's age 31 season, that pact was a big bet that the man who had provided so much leadoff lumber for the Houston Astros still had more in store. At that point, Springer was considered a top 15 position player in all of baseball. In 7 seasons with Houston from 2014 to 2020, he put up an .852 OPS with 174 homers and 137 doubles, while also playing good defense in center field and right. His move to the leadoff spot during the 2016 season was a significant plot point in the Astros' ascendance to elite status. Like other position players on the Astros' 2017 World Series championship team, Springer faced scrutiny for his involvement in the trash can banging, sign-stealing scandal. But he did plenty of banging even after MLB cracked down on the use of technology to relay signs. His .899 OPS and 14 homers in the COVID-shortened 2020 season, as he approached free agency, helped allay any concerns that he couldn't produce without additional assistance. And Springer's postseason pedigree was off the charts. He was the World Series MVP in 2017, cranking out 5 homers to tie the series record held by Reggie Jackson and Chase Utley. In the Astros' Game 7 triumph on the road, where they weren't smacking any trash cans, Springer homered and doubled to lead Houston to the first title in franchise history. All told, in 63 postseason games with the Astros, Springer hit 19 home runs, a total that ties him for 6th on the all-time list. His 34 extra base hits in that span put him at 11th all-time. This is what the Blue Jays signed up for, a leadoff leader who had been there, done that in October, and who could help them both get there and go the distance. But it hasn't exactly worked out that way. It's not that Springer hasn't had productive stretches in his Canadian career. Actually, in his first 2 seasons with the team, his offensive performance on the whole rated as 35% better than the league average. But Springer got injured in his first spring training camp with his new club and was limited to just 78 games that season. And though he was an all-star in 2022, his numbers took a turn for the worse in 2023, when he moved from center to right field and was basically a league average bat. And last season, Springer bottomed out with a career-worst .674 OPS. The Jays had no choice but to yank him out of the leadoff spot. This general decline from Springer coincided with the Blue Jays simply falling short of expectations as a squad. Prior to Springer's arrival, they had been swept out of the wild card round in 2020. Since Springer's arrival, they have played in the postseason twice, in 2022 and 2023, both times as a wild card club and both times as a quick exit. They haven't won a postseason game in the Guerrero and Bichette era of contention. And last season they finished in dead last in the American League East, 20 games back of the division champion Yankees. So yeah, it was hard to expect much from the Blue Jays this year. Spurned by Soto, they invested 5 years and $92.5 million in outfielder Anthony Santander, who was coming off a career year with the Orioles. They signed an aging Max Scherzer, brought back their one-time first-round draft pick Jeff Hoffman to anchor their bullpen, but generally did not move the needle enough to be considered a playoff favorite. Their most significant move was extending Guerrero with a mammoth $500 million extension. But that was obviously more about maintaining a good thing than adding an upgrade. Actually, if you knew in March how the Blue Jays' new additions would turn out, you'd be stunned to find out they're a contender. Santander has been limited to just 50 games played, with little offensive impact. Scherzer has been solid, but he's no longer a frontline arm. Hoffman has been a workhorse, but inconsistent in the back end. No, the reason behind the Jays' surge is the strength and upside that's arrived internally. It's come from Bichette having a major bounce-back year, with a Major League best 181 hits and 44 doubles prior to a recent knee injury. It's come from catcher Alejandro Kirk reclaiming all-star status. It's come from center fielder Dalton Varsho finding his offensive footing, with by far his best season since coming to the Jays in a trade prior to 2023. It's come from guys like Addison Barger, Ernie Clement, Miles Straw, Tyler Heineman, Eric Lauer, Yariel Rodriguez, and Brendan Little, providing more impact than anticipated. And of course, it's come from Vladdy looking the part of a $500 million man, with a batting average around 300, an on-base percentage around 400, and a slugging percentage around 500. No one could have imagined that in his age 35 season, Springer, who turns 36 in September, would put up what currently stands as the best adjusted OPS plus of his career. He's homered in more than 5% of his plate appearances for the first time since 2021. He's posted one of the lowest strikeout rates of his entire career, and he has his highest walk rate and his highest hard hit rate since 2019. Even after Springer missed more than 2 weeks at the start of August after a scary concussion, he came back raking. In his first 20 games after the injury, he belted 9 homers with an OPS over 1100. He's also returned to his once customary leadoff spot. Springer has been more selective with his swing decisions this season, and when he swung the bat, he swung it with more bat speed than he had in either of the previous 2 years. It's led to that leadoff lumber we once witnessed with regularity when he was a Houston hero. Now, with the Jays trying to nail down the division title and a lock for October either way, Springer has a chance to remind us what he can do on that postseason stage. He leads a deep and multifaceted offense that has an ideal blend of on-base ability and raw power while also running the bases well. It's been so much fun to see Springer spring back to life in 2025, and he's carried the Blue Jays with him.